Nobody owes you anything, but you owe yourself everything. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first ever episode of Becoming Her, the podcast edition. So, I normally do this as a vlog, but this is basically like my self-discovery type vlog. So basically it's just the journey of me becoming her, and her is the girl that I inspire to be, like the version of me that is at her highest self and does every and anything that she wants to do because she does it. It's all about like my self-development, my character, learning what I like, what I don't like, just kind of going through this journey, not alone, but close enough, with like friends, family, and God, of course. So basically that's what the vlog and the podcast episodes are going to be about for anyone who's new here. I have a vlog that I put up, the very first one, which is before this one. So, if you're interested in watching, I will have it linked so you can do this. So you can watch it. So as you can see, there's 2 microphones, but there's only one person. And that's just because I was supposed to have a guest, but I ended up doing this on my own, which I am okay with. I think originally I was supposed to do this on my own in the first place, and I feel like that's why it was never working when I kept trying to have someone to do it with me. So I was really nervous about doing this whole entire podcast just because I felt that who am I to speak to anyone or talk to someone about something that I'm currently going through that may not even help them, So I was really hesitant to do it, but it was just pressing on me to make it a public thing, share it with the world, because you never know who could be going through the same thing that you're going through and that I could possibly help them. So with just lots of thinking and lots of prayer, I'm finally doing it. I guess putting my life online, which I didn't want to do, but like every part of my life, of course, is not going to be online, but just the areas of my life that I'm comfortable sharing and the journeys and experiences that I'm comfortable sharing. So with that being said, we can go ahead and get into this podcast. So the first ever podcast edition of Becoming Her is going to be about the season of isolation. And I know it's something that we hear all the time. I know it's really common with people my age, I guess any age, but I feel like in your early mid-20s, this is something that you go through a lot. Some people possibly go through it a little later, but I noticed a lot of people that's my age right now are going through this. And so if you don't know what the season of isolation is, some people just call it isolation season, but it's the same thing. So basically it's just when everything around you seems to cease, in my opinion. So it's like everything around you kind of stops. It's like moved away from you. You start losing friends, you start losing relationships. Things kind of seem like they're kind of just walking out of your life, like it's just leaving, and you feel really alone. But in reality, it's just God trying to get you alone so he can either communicate with you, speak to you about something that he's been trying to tell you and you just weren't listening, or it's because you have something big coming for you and the places and people that's in your life cannot go there with you. So people also go through season of isolation for growth, like they're outgrowing the people, their surroundings, and the things around them. And I kind of feel like that's where I am. I'm definitely outgrowing a lot of things, a lot of people, and places. So mine's on a couple different areas. Like I'm outgrowing people, places, things. I'm also being put in a place where God's trying to talk to me, and it's like I knew he was trying to talk to me, but I was choosing to not respond. I was choosing not to listen to what he was trying to tell me, just because I knew that it was going to be uncomfortable, and I wasn't ready to be uncomfortable yet. I just got into a space of comfortableness and I loved it. I loved how my life was going. I loved how things were going, but there was also some things that were going wrong and that I noticed I needed to step away from. So God had to isolate me to get me to step away from those things because I wouldn't do it willingly. So it was almost like he forced it, which I wouldn't say forced, but it's like he put his hand in there to show me like, hey, like you need to step away from these things. And if you don't step away from these things, I'm going to take them from you. And so that's exactly what happened. So currently I'm in a headspace of transformation. So I feel like I have been trying to reinvent myself. I've been trying to become a better version of me without losing who I was, or at least who I thought I was. And now I'm starting to think like you just need to lose completely who you thought you were, because obviously who you thought you were is not who you actually are. Like I think I wanted the version of me that was just here a couple months ago to be who I was going to be forever. Little did I know I was going to be growing even more. And so within like these just past couple of weeks, I have been growing, and it's crazy because it's noticeable to people. Like people have been saying, oh my gosh, like a lot of things that used to upset you isn't upsetting you anymore. Like you seem more free, you seem more happy, and you just seem different. And I feel different. I feel happier. I feel like I've been glowing, like all of the things that people are noticing, I've been feeling. So I've just been on this journey, trying to get myself to the best version of me that I can be. So I want everyone, to come along with me when it comes to this. And so basically I was sitting in the car one day and I was listening to music. And I don't remember what song I was listening to, but it's my gospel playlist. Some days I start my days off with it just because I feel like it relaxes me. Especially if I'm anxious for the day, I start off with gospel music. And so that's what I did. I started off with my gospel playlist. And so I was sitting in the car, and that's when I just got like a message. I don't know if I would call it a message, but there was something similar to it. I don't call it a message because I'm not a pastor. I'm not a preacher, nor do I think that I can, give God's word to people. I probably can, but self-doubt always kicks in. But I was sitting in the car, and this was before I started any of this journey. Like this was literally like the starting point. And actually the day before this, I watched a sermon by Sarah Jakes Roberts on YouTube. And I was like, that sermon kind of got to me. It's like she stuck a thorn in my side with it. She was basically talking about every single thing that I was going through at the moment, or the things that I was thinking. Like she was speaking on it. And it was called I think it was Breaking Point. And I felt like at that very moment, I hit my breaking point. Like it was just like I felt like I hit rock bottom. There was nowhere else that I could go. There was nothing else that I could do. Like I feel like I tried everything, and I've hit rock bottom before or something similar to it. And what did I do? Pick myself back up like I always do. And so I went to my therapist, did the work, picked myself back up. But for some reason this time I just couldn't pick myself up. And I was just like, at that moment, God was like, do you hear me now? Like, do you hear me? Like I'm trying to get your attention and you never seem to hear me. And so at that moment, I definitely heard him. And I felt like I was in a box, and the only way to get out of the box was up, but I couldn't pick myself up. So I just had to let go. And I was like, okay, God, I hear you. Do what you got to do so you can get me out of this box. And so I'm just going to drop the sermon, the link down below so you can watch it. I think it's a couple years old, but it hit me as if it was brand new. So that was like the very start of the whole journey, hearing that sermon. And the next day is when I got this message. So I'm going to read it to you. There's a couple errors in it because I don't think I fixed it, but just ignore the errors if I say them out loud. So I title everything that I write, and so this does have a title, and it's, if you put God last, he won't hesitate to show you why you should have put him first. That's kind of what I was getting, because I hesitated, And I definitely put God last when I should have put him first. And he did not hesitate to show me why I should have put him first. So I said, I'm not a preacher, nor am I a minister, but what I am is a child of God who got lost. I put God last when I should have put him first. He pointed out the most important things in my life and put hazard signs on them. I ignored it time and time again until those things started to hurt me, betray me, and constantly eat at me. I had no choice but to let go. I had no choice but to surrender to God. I realized that I really couldn't do this or anything at that on my own. I heard God ask me countless times over the years, are you ready? I never answered because a new beginning? Absolutely not. I have a strong fear of the unknown, and I just knew that this walk with God was full of unknowns. I knew it would be filled with isolation, loneliness, and most importantly, a loss of control. Besides my parents, I've always had control of my life and my actions, so to have to fully give up control and be in a state of the unknown is foreign to me. But I had to do it. I let go. I stopped worrying about everyone else around me. I stopped obsessing over things that I can't control. I stopped seeking validation, and I let God have his way. I now understand the term walk by faith and not by sight. I walked by sight for so long, I forgot to have faith. In order for God to have his way with you, you have to give up control. You're not going to know your next steps, but that's okay. You're not required to. God is there for a reason. All you have to do is trust and believe in him, and your feet will move on its own. The journey will always seem rough when you put God last, but at the end of the day, he won't hesitate to show you why you should have put him first. And so that was on my mind all day, and I just wrote it down, and that's how it came out. So the scripture that was on my mind, I couldn't find it. Like I knew that Ephesians was on my mind. That was the only thing I could think of was Ephesians. I was like, why do I keep thinking this? And like just the word Ephesians stuck with me. So I just looked up on Google. I went on there and I typed in scriptures that relate to, and then kind of what I wrote down in this. And so the first thing I got was Ephesians 4 verses 22 through 24. You were taught with regard of your former way of life, to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. And so for me, I took that as like, this is the start of your new journey, and you're going to walk through this journey, and you're going to forget who you were and become the person that God is telling you to be and the person that he wants you to be. And so you know your desires are going to take over. You're going to want to do what you want to do, but you have to make sure that you're strong in God and you can handle it on your own. Well, not on your own, but with God. And so another thing that came up was Ezekiel 11 verse 19. So I will give them an undivided heart and put a new spirit in them. I will remove from them their heart of stone and give them a heart of flesh. And so for me, I took that as I wouldn't say I had bitterness, but I had a lot of hurt, and not hatred, but what's another word? I would just say a lot of anger towards a lot of people that's done some things to me, and I was holding on to this anger, and it was very unhealthy. And so I wanted to let that go, and I saw this scripture, and I was just like, that's exactly what it is. Like, I need God to take my heart of stone and replace it with something better, because it's just the amount of anger, and it was so noticeable. Like, my mom noticed it. Like, she was constantly praying for me, and she told me, she was just like, all I can do is pray for you, but if you're not willing to make the change, these prayers for you are not going to work. And so I was just like, I want the prayers to work, but I pray about it, but nothing's happening. And it's because I'm praying about something, but I'm not actually wanting it to change, So you can pray about something, but if you're not putting in work behind those prayers, nothing is going to happen. And so that's when I just came to the realization, like, I'm really going to have to do this. Like, there's no going back, and this is what it's going to be. So, and this is like that. This was the beginning of the journey that y'all are seeing now. So to get in to everything, so how am I coping with this? So I have been trying to find different ways of coping with this new journey and the new things that I've been experiencing. So one of the first things that I did was get a calendar, and on my calendar, I wrote down everything that I wanted to do. So for the month, I do it monthly, and I wrote down everything that I need to do for the month in that order, when things need to be paid, when things are due. So I wrote it down on the calendar, and then I also have a little notes text on the side, and the notes say there's stickers. I have different colored stickers. There's like red, blue, green. Let's see. Sorry, I'm looking at it. Purple, and I believe that's pink. Or that's orange. It's orange. So the green is for a good day. The red is for a bad day. The yellow is for an okay day. I think the blue is for an emotional day. Other is pink. Pink is for an emotionless day. Orange is for like, it's like, I can't explain it. But I can't see it either. So, but you get what I'm saying. It's like for the days. So every day I put a sticker to explain how I'm feeling for the day, to keep track of my emotions. And then below those, I have like a I don't know what you call it, but it's just like a quote to go by for the month. And I just wrote like a little message to myself, like just saying, uplifting things. I say it every morning, so I read it, of course. And then below that is a scripture. I don't remember what scripture I put, but that was the scripture for the month that I put up there. And so I've been keeping up with the calendar, and I love it. It helps me monitor my emotions, and it also helps me when I go to my therapist, I can tell her how I've been feeling about certain things. And so below that, I have sticky notes, and my sticky notes are prayer sticky notes. And pink is for me. Green is for others and family. So I write prayers out for myself on the pink sticky notes, and I write prayers for other people on the green sticky notes. I had more, but I ended up getting upset about something and took some of the sticky notes down, which I shouldn't have, but it's okay. We can start over next month. So so I have those up there, and then on the other side, I have my August essentials. It's about to be September, so this weekend I will be rewriting those. But basically, there's two categories. So it's healing journey, and it's like the count. So how many days have I been on this healing journey? And then I have a checklist of everything that I want to check off for my healing journey for the month of August. So like I see, get a new number. So that was another thing that I started with. I started off by getting a new number because I didn't want to go into this journey with the same number. I didn't want anyone contacting me. That was one of the reasons that I got sent on this journey in the first place. So I got a new number, and very little people have this number. Maybe like a total of like 12 people have this number. I also told myself, you're going to clear out your phone. So I did. I got rid of all the old apps, all the old pictures. I deleted contacts. I went from over 300 contacts to about 90, which is good for me. I don't care because I don't save numbers in the first place. I just happen to have a lot of numbers saved this time. So go out alone was another thing that I wanted to do. And I did. I went out alone. I vlogged a little bit of it, but in the other vlog, you will see me talking about it because I did talk about it. Cut my hair was another thing. So I did that. I cut my hair. And then get rid of old clothes. I did that. And then start finding myself. And that's something that I've been working on. So basically I checked off everything for my healing journey for the month of August. Now I have another one, and it's called New Beginnings, but I'm not going to talk about that one. That one is more so personal and not something that I'm ready to share yet. But I checked everything off of that list too. And I see a quote that I have underneath it, and it says, "Do it scared, do it alone, do it afraid, but don't forget to do it with God." So I wrote that to myself because I know how I go. I do it alone, I'll do it scared, and I'll do it afraid. Even though afraid and scared is the same thing. But sometimes I can forget to do it with God. So just a reminder to myself to make sure that I do it with God. So I've been coping by just taking the time to write out how I've been feeling about things, and go about like I've just been trying to get new experiences and learning things about myself. And so the best way that I could learn things about myself was to make a checklist, because I'm a checklist person. So that is my way of coping. Like, that's how I've been dealing with this whole journey, because it is definitely lonely, but it's worth it. So how am I with friendships? So my friend group used to be really big, and recently I ended up losing two friends. And at first I wasn't going to talk about this on here, but I feel like everyone is losing friendships right now. I was watching a podcast and she titled it "Losing Friends and Finding Peace," and I feel like that is so true. I was sad to lose friends, but I found a lot of peace in doing that. Like, the past month has been so stress free losing those friends. And so I was hesitant to drop them, but I just prayed about it. I told God, I said, if these people are not meant to be in my life, like, just remove them. The next day I woke up blocked by one of the people. The next day I ended up getting into an argument with someone, and I tried to de-escalate the situation, and that did not work. They still, continued on. So I just had to cut them off. Like, to me, that was a sign. I prayed about it, and you did this the next day. And so just had to cut them off. And I was really sad about it, just because these people have been in my life for a really long time. But, sometimes you outgrow people, and I've outgrown them a long time ago, but it's just, I don't like to let go of memories, and they're part of my memories, and I didn't want to let them go. So I just kept them around. So I ended up cutting them off, letting them go, and it was sad, but it was definitely worth it. My friend group right now is extremely small. It's about 3 people, but those people bring me happiness. They bring me lots of peace. They don't stress me out. They're there for me when I need them all the time. They don't make everything about them, They are there for me. Like, we cater to each other. So when one person needs each other, we're there for each person. So my friend group is really small, and I'm definitely open to more friends, but not just any type of friend. I'm open to godly friendships. That's what I want right now. I've been wanting a godly friendship. I've been wanting people who are on the same journey as me, and who are dealing with the same things that I'm going through. Like, my current friends are definitely dealing with what I'm dealing with as well, but I just feel like ours, it's not on the same level. We're all on different levels in the same journey, and I would like to have people on the same level with me on this journey. So it's not bad, but relationships and friendships are okay right now. I know they'll get better one day, but I'm not going to stress it, but it'll definitely get better. If you feel like you're losing friendships and you're losing relationships during this time, it's okay. People always come back, or there may just be someone better or people better that God has for you. So I had to allow myself to just remember that and keep it moving. So I think people always try to wonder, like, why God put us in this season, especially if everything in our life seems to be going really good. Relationships are great, friendships are great, jobs great, everything is great to you. But I think when God's trying to take you to the next level, He's going to isolate you, because sometimes the people that you're around, the relationship that you're in, cannot come with you to the next level. And there's definitely, like, a dangerous prayer that I call it dangerous, but it's when you ask God to remove anybody from your life that's not supposed to be there, and remove you from the place that you're in if that's not where you're supposed to be. So I call those dangerous prayers, because the minute you say that, like, it works. I pray all the time, but that's the fastest prayer that works. If you say that, it just seems like within hours or a day, it works. Like, it's one of the fastest prayers that takes place. And so it seems like every time I've said this prayer, things just happen right away. And so I think when you're going through a season of isolation, it's because God wants you to move. Like, He wants you to move. Like, you got something bigger and better coming for you. and you're not going to be able to get there unless he isolates you, so you can only hear them. So you can only hear him. So you're going to be distracted most likely. Like there's probably some type of distraction that's around you that's causing you to not hear him clearly. So he's removing all distractions, all people, and taking you out of the place that is not going to help you get to the next level. So I feel like that's why he isolates us from everyone. And believe it or not, around the same exact time last year, I was in a season of isolation. And I was just coming out of it at this exact time last year. Like I was literally just coming out of all of the isolation and everything around me, which is so crazy. Like it is so crazy to be back in the same position that I was coming out of last year, but that just lets me know that there's something bigger and better that's coming for me. So how are you going to go about getting out of this season? I feel like you really have to do your healing, and I know I didn't mention it before, but I feel like you really need to do your healing in this time. So for me, the way that I'm going to get out of this season is through prayer, of course, getting closer to God to find out what it is that I was put into isolation for. So I think once you discover it and you start acting on it, that's your ticket out of the season. And you're never going to know how long this season is, how long it's going to last, what it's going to consist of, but you can at least, get your tools and everything together to prepare yourself for it. And if that's your Bible and your self-work, your healing, your therapy, do all of those things. That's going to be your ticket out of here. And so for me personally, I think I need to heal. I thought that I healed previously from my last relationship a couple years ago. I thought I healed from it, which I didn't heal from anything. Like I spoke about those friendship hurts. Those, like when I lost those friends, it stemmed from things that happened years ago that I personally did not get over. I had to remember, you thinking you're healing, but this whole time I was never healing. All I was doing was suppressing. And so in order for you to heal, you have to confront those emotions and actually move on from them, not just suppress them. So I think you need to do the inner work, and you need to heal. You need to discover where it is that you're trying to get in life, what you're trying to do, who you're trying to be, and talk with God about it. And that's your ticket out of here, in my personal opinion. And so, that is like the basics of what this journey consists of. And so now I'm going to get into exactly what I have been really doing. So I have, like I was saying, I've been trying to reinvent myself. That's why I started this Becoming Her series, because I want to reinvent myself. I want to become the best version of me, the one who does not take anything from anybody. Like, she is her own person. She's not easily influenced. Like, she knows what she loves and she does what she loves. So that is where that's where I've been. That's where I've been getting to. So like the steps I've been taking to deal with that is just like really being in my soft girl era, the feminine energy. So I've been getting my hair done, like cut my hair. I've been keeping up with my nails, my toes, like doing those things for me. I have a bad habit of not making up my bed every day. I've been making up my bed every day. I've been cleaning daily because I like to clean weekly, but I'm just like, no, like clean daily. And I've been hearing a lot, like, get your house in order, which I'll talk about that in another episode. But I have been, like really trying to take care of me, worry about me. I'm so always worried about other people's feelings, what other people are dealing with, when I really just need to worry about me. So that's what I've been doing. I've been really taking care of myself, doing things for myself, loving on myself, giving myself all of the energy that I've been giving to everyone else. So I've been trying to discover the things that I like, what I don't like. I've been trying to find a hobby, because I noticed that I don't have many hobbies. Like, hey, I like doing makeup. That's like a hobby, of course, but I want other hobbies as well. Like, I want to learn to play tennis. I want to start going horseback riding. I want to start doing pottery and painting. Like, there's so many different things that I want to try. So I've been scheduling things. Going out alone is another big one. I've been trying to learn to go out alone and be okay with being alone. So even though I'm not alone, I want to be able to know how to be alone, if that makes sense. So if there ever comes a day where I have to be alone again, I'm okay and I know how to be alone. Like, I can be alone because I'm used to it. So I have been learning to be alone again. So I've been going out alone. I've been sitting at bars alone. I've been going to like wine places alone, shopping alone, movies alone. Like, I've been doing so much by myself and I love it. I've been eating by myself before, so that doesn't bother me. But I want to learn how to be able to do it while being in a busy scenery. Like, I can do things alone, but just never do it in a busy scenery. I always do it when there's really no one around, and I want to start doing it with people around. So I've been trying to, just improve things about me, the way that I speak. I've been trying to improve my vocabulary, because I say like a lot and a lot, and I'm trying to stop doing that. So I've been trying to improve my vocabulary, learn new words, speak clearly. I've been trying to learn to not feel guilty for being who I am. Like, I should not be here covering up who I am to try to fit in someone else's box, because obviously my box is bigger than yours, and you're trying to put me in this little box, and I'm way bigger than the box. I am more than the box. Like Lori said, I'm the prize. And people always say that, people ask you, what do you bring to the table? I don't bring anything to the table. I bring the entire table plus the chairs plus the meal that goes on top of the table. Like, that's where I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get into the confident era. Like, there's nobody that can tell me that I'm not gorgeous. There's nobody that can tell me that I'm not that girl. And I've been trying to get there. So that's the journey that I've been on, and the place that I've been in. And I felt like the only way for me to really have gotten to this point is through isolation. And since I've been isolated, that this is just something that I've been doing for me. Another thing, when I walk, I try not to hold my head down. When I speak, I don't look down, but I look them right in their eyes. I've been working on that. And I'm getting better with it. I used to be really good at keeping eye contact while talking, but I've gotten a lot better at it now, because I got really shy at one point and I stopped doing it. But now I keep direct eye contact. I'm trying to learn how to not mean mug, soften my facial expressions, be nicer, be more open to speaking to people and meeting people. And so another thing that's been helping out is like the people who I've been around. I'm a strong believer in like God placing people in your life to help you get somewhere that he's trying to get you to. And I feel like he placed my teacher from my esthetician school in my life, because she's like, I feel like she's at the version of this journey that I'm trying to get to. So I feel like the person that I'm trying to get to is where she is right now. And so I definitely believe in, when you're trying to get a place in life, surround yourself by the people who are already there. So they're there and they're trying to get better, but you're trying to get to that point. So I'm trying to get into the circle with you to get to this point. Not that you're trying to use them, but y'all are helping each other. I believe in, okay, there's two levels. Somebody may be up here, someone may be down here, but you can definitely learn from somebody who's down here, and somebody down here can definitely learn from someone who's up here, if that makes sense. And so even though I may be down here on this journey and someone else may be up here, we can definitely learn from each other, and then we both can go up. Maybe not at the same level at the same time, but we're both moving, like I may move to the level that you were and you may move to a higher level, if that makes sense. And so I believe that God placed my teacher in my life to not only help me, of course, with aesthetics, but also with life lessons. She's very wise, and I love that. She's very open about her journey through life and the experiences. And I feel like it helps me out as well, just because having someone, besides my mom and my therapist to talk to about these things makes it a lot easier. So, I've been trying to just elevate, and I've been trying to grow. And I realized that I got put in this season because I was never going to elevate with those friends that I had around me, those relationships that I was in and that was around me. I was never going to elevate and go to the next place in the place that I was in. So I had to leave that place. Even though it definitely hurt, I had to leave that place to get to the next place that I'm going. And I'm so excited. I'm very nervous about where I'm going to go, but I'm excited because I know that if God had to take a lot of things from me, he's going to replace them with things that are 10 times, maybe even 100 times better. And, I'm ready for the journey, and I'm ready to take y'all along with me on it. So it's something different. Like it's a different experience. It's a different lifestyle that I'm trying to live. I feel like I'm not trying to change who I am, but I'm trying to change the way I go about things, the way that I take care of me, the way that I speak. So it sounds like I'm trying to change myself, but I'm still the same old Kiera, just an improved version of her. So that's definitely where I've been, what I've been doing, and I love it. I'm trying to keep it going. I'm trying to, keep my heart in the right place, keep my mind in the right place, and just take this journey slow. I don't want to rush it. I don't want to try to make myself heal right now, because it's going to take a minute, and I don't mind, just because I know that this journey is about to be crazy. I just know it, and I'm so excited. Like with esthetician school, like doing makeup, there's just a lot of things that I'm excited for, and I can't wait to experience it, and possibly even with new people, new friendships, new relationships, all of it. Like, I'm excited, and I really cannot wait. So yeah, that's just the headspace that I've been in, I've been journaling as well. I bought a book, and I was really hesitant because it's like the shadow work book. And when I heard shadow work, I was just like, that is not God. Like, and you could not tell me until I started reading it, and I was like, this is just self-discovery, you trying to find you, do things for you. So yeah, like I've been doing a lot of work on me for the past couple of weeks, and I'm loving it. And I think it's bringing about a lot of new opportunities. It seems like opportunities just have been coming left and right since I got out of the place that I was in before. And I love that for me. And I'm so grateful, and I'm so thankful for all of this that's going on, even though it hurt. But sometimes you need the hurt, So with that being said, I did a little poll on my Instagram, like asking people what are things that they would ask, like what are questions that they would ask, or advice that they would give to people in their isolation season. So we're going to go and look at that. So let me go to my Instagram. Okay. So the first one, how is this relationship? I'm guessing is, how is your relationship with God while in isolation? And I feel like for people and for me, it's like way stronger than what it was. I'm doing more with God than I feel like I ever have. I've been talking to him more. I've been praying more. He's been revealing things to me way more than what he was when I wasn't in isolation. So I feel like your isolation season just brings you closer to God in general. Let's see. What do they do to occupy themselves during the season of isolation? So I did tell y'all some of the things that I've been doing to occupy myself during that time, but yeah, I kind of answered that one already. So yeah, just the self-care, the reading your Bible, spending time with God, taking care of yourself, getting a hobby, doing things that you never do, going out alone, things like that. How do they view their isolation season? Do they see it as being alone or a time to work? Some people look at it as being alone, but I look at it as a time of self-improvement. This is the time that you can improve on yourself and get to the place that you're supposed to be in. I feel like you can get to that place, but what would you do if you got there and you weren't prepared because you didn't do the work while you were in isolation, if that makes sense? So I say prepare yourself for what's coming ahead. You may not know what's coming ahead, but just prepare yourself accordingly to what you believe is coming ahead and what God may have revealed to you that's coming. And the last one, where are they mentally and are they okay? I definitely think since this isolation season requires you to give up all control, and especially if you're a person like me who likes to control everything, this is going to be different for you. It's going to cause some anxiety, like it did for me. It caused a lot of anxiety because I hate the unknown. I hate not knowing where things are going to go, what's next, and the season definitely calls for a lot of unknowns and a lot of things that are coming next that you have no idea about. So I definitely, I feel like it causes a lot of anxiety. For some people, it may even cause depression. That's not the case for me, but I know it probably causes depression in some people because they feel really alone. And I just don't think they realize that they're not alone because God is right there. He's just waiting for you to open your mouth and call for him, and it could be a test, and, teachers are always silent during a test. So, take that and do what you will. And lastly, I'm just going to give some advice. Even though I've been giving advice this entire time, but I'm just going to give some advice for people who are in an isolation season or are going through any of the things that I talked about today. So, learn to heal from your last relationship and trauma. So when I mean relationships, I mean friendships, family relationships, romantic relationships, platonic, all of it. Learn to heal from all of those things. So if that requires you to, if that requires you to just, not be in a relationship for a while, not have friends for a while, do that. But you have to heal first. You cannot move on if you did not heal. And I thought that I healed before from my past relationship and moved to another one a year later. And even though it was a year later, I was never healed from any of the things. I felt like everything just kept coming back up. The stuff that I swore that I healed from just kept coming back up, causing unnecessary drama. Even though there was no drama, it was just unnecessary trauma and unnecessary thoughts and everything that keeps coming up when it didn't have to. None of that had to be like that. I think it was just me not being healed before. And I feel like friendship hurt is a real thing. And if you don't heal from that friendship hurt either, when you go into another friendship, you're going to think that people are trying to do the same thing to you that this other friend did, or your guard's going to be up really high and you're not really going to be able to become friends with these people like you thought you were, if that makes sense. Forgive and forget. Forgive and forget the people and the things that hurt you, but most importantly, just don't forget. Make sure you actually forgive. And so for me, same thing. I know how to forget very well, but forgive is one thing that I don't know how to do and that I'm learning to work on. But you cannot think you forgave someone when all you did was really forget, because it's not going to help you. I had a friendship that literally just things constantly happened over years, constant, year after year. And, they would always apologize and I always would say I forgive them, but I actually never forgave them. So for the past 2 years, but mainly the past year or so, it's when these things would happen, I would just hold on to that anger. So every time something would happen, the anger would build up it got to the point where I exploded. And, I'm bringing up things that happened years ago. And it's like, dang, like this happened years ago. Why are you still bringing this up? And it's because I never healed from it. Like I held on to this for so long that when I finally got the chance to explode, I just exploded over everything that happened over time. And so I had to allow myself to realize like it is okay to be hurt, and you have to forgive. Like you're going to have to forgive this person, and you're going to have to move on. You're going to have to learn to forgive without an apology, without any type of closure. You're just going to have to forgive and move on. And so that's what I'm currently working on. And I think until I get to that point, I'm going to have to keep that door with that person closed. That door will not be opened until I feel like I should open it, or until God tells me it's okay. But as of right now, that door is closed and it will stay closed. But just learn to forgive. If you're going to forget, make sure you forgive too. Another thing I had to learn, or that advice that I would give, is stop pointing fingers at everyone else and identify your own flaws and where you lack. So I feel like we're really good at pointing fingers at people, like they did this to me, this person is like this, this person la la la, this person la la la, when really, what about you? Like, what about you? Are you doing the same things? Is this person doing this to you because you're doing something to them that you're not 100% sure that you're doing? Like, you have to look at you and see where you lack. Like, you may be a person of communication. I love communication. That is something big to me in friendships and relationships. And for a while, I couldn't communicate either. My biggest thing was I would not communicate with you. I would just cut you off when I feel like you did something. But I would expect for you to communicate with me when these things happen. How could I expect you to communicate with me about something when I didn't even communicate with you that this thing was bothering me? So you're never knowing anything. It's like I'm not communicating on my end, so you definitely couldn't communicate on yours. And so, I've just been learning to to stop pointing fingers at everyone else. So I would definitely tell someone, don't point fingers at anyone else until you finish your self-work, until you realize that you may also be the problem as well. Everyone else is not always the problem. Sometimes it may just be you. So that's another thing that I would definitely tell people to work on and give advice on. And so this journey, the season of isolation, like just you're reinventing yourself, all of it is going to require you to give up all control. God isolated you so that you can focus on Him and get to the place that you need to be. So like I said before, this journey is going to require a lot of forgiveness, a lot of healing, a lot of giving up all your control, a lot of letting go and letting God, and just sitting back. It requires a lot of that. And you have to be ready for this. This is not something that you can just go into not knowing what's coming. Like you know that you're never going to know exactly what's coming, but you need to know that there's going to be some hurt, there's going to be some pain, and some other things that may come along with this. And lastly, nobody owes you anything, but you owe yourself everything. So no one owes you any type of loyalty, respect, or anything. Like no one owes you anything, but you owe that to yourself. You owe yourself the loyalty. You owe yourself the respect. If you don't respect you and you don't have loyalty for you, who do you think is going to have that for you? Nobody. So you have to make sure that you got this together for you. You need to make sure that you owe yourself these things, and you do these things for yourself before you expect anyone else to ever do these things for you. So with that being said, that is all that I have to say for this episode, the first ever podcast edition of Becoming Her. I hope that you guys understood where I was coming from, the things that I was trying to say. It was really just me emptying my head to this microphone and to you. So I really hope it was easy to understand, and that, I may have helped somebody or gave someone just an insight to what this journey is really about, and how they should, go about it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them down below, or you can send me a DM on Instagram. My Instagram is Kierra.world. It's Kierra.world on Instagram. Also, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can see more of this journey and hear more of these podcast episodes. My YouTube is Kierraandrea for those of you who are listening and not actually watching. And I'm just be light, y'all. Be light out here, because this world is very much evil and things are not always the way that they seem. But just keep God with you and keep yourself comfortable on this journey. Like, I know it's going to be uncomfortable, but just keep yourself comfortable in God and in yourself. You don't need anybody to walk through this journey with you besides God and yourself. So I hope this was helpful, and I'm not going to keep dragging this out, but if you have any questions, everything will be down below. For those of you who are not watching but you're listening, everything will be in the description of this video. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in either the next vlog or the next podcast edition of Becoming Her.